There we go. So, like to start all these because people don't necessarily watch them tonight. But I'm Chris Razima, and I am your host for tonight. And tonight, I'm very passionate about this subject because this is the thing that got me in the most trouble health-wise. Who struggles with sleep? And this is a combination of a few uh, presentations that I have. But what I realized is that people don't understand how important sleep actually is to your physiological being, to your body, to your brain, to your emotions, your health. And so the parts of this presentation were given by Dr. Ollie Wenker at our um, 30th annual convention this past summer in Salt Lake City. The first part of it, all about sleep, is the slides from Dr. Wenker. And I found them absolutely fascinating and very eye-opening in terms of how I perceived the importance of prioritizing my sleep over any other kind of health thing that I was prioritizing or not prioritizing. So that is why I combined a few things. So the main bulk of this presentation is all about sleep and facts about sleep and why sleep is important, how it impacts our bodies. I have a few suggestions at the end of the presentation for things that can help you sleep when you have tried all of the kind of behavioral things that we'll talk about. Um, because sometimes you just need help getting sleep for a multitude of reasons. So I like to provide a nice broad spectrum of solutions for you to try. Um, and my one of my dogs is in with me tonight, so he might hear him every once in a while
His
wandering
head pops
by.
up now and then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah,
that's him.
yeah,
He's quite happy. He's laying on the bed over here, quite happy. But yeah. Oh, there you go. See, there he is.
yeah,
He likes to hang with me.
yeah.
So let's start off by talking about why sleep is good for you. Um, and it seems like a pretty basic question, but I don't ever remember in any of my biology classes or any kind of conversations with my doctor talking about why actually sleep is good for you. And what happens, sleep is the only time that our brain can actually detoxify itself from the stresses and impacts of our daily life, our highly stressed, um, pollution-oriented, um, difficult, overworked days create garbage in our brain when our cells are changing over, our cell dying off. That creates kind of a buildup of garbage that needs to be removed from our system. It's the same with our bodies. Our bodies detoxify all the time using our lymph system. We're going to come to that, how it does this in a little bit. But this doesn't take just a few quick minutes. It actually takes our body and our brain a couple of cycles of the entire sleep process to fully flush toxins from our brain. And some common misconceptions that we've got about sleep. The biggest one is that sleep is passive and it's just a time where we kind of regenerate. Well, it's not passive at all. It's actually incredibly active and dynamic. And it uses many hormones to clear out waste products in our brain. And the interesting thing about sleep is that less sleep um, um, has an impact on your day-to-day function. So people think, well, I can have an hour less sleep here and it's not going to affect me tomorrow. But it actually, sleep deficits accumulate. And actually, because our brain doesn't get to detoxify itself, clean itself. It's much like cleaning our house. Yeah, we can go a couple of days without cleaning our house, but it's dirtier when we go to clean it. The dirt doesn't just magically disappear. Um, and sleep debts deficits can have significant impact on day-to-day functioning, particularly critical thinking, performance, and highly difficult mood. Mood is a big one with sleep.
Hmm. Hmm.
The other misconception is that older people need less sleep than younger people, and that is actually incorrect. And in fact, because our bodies are aged more, we might in fact need more sleep to better detoxify our brains. And there's some interesting facts about sleep in all kind of ages of life. The loss of 1 hour of sleep per night in teenagers can be equivalent to to the loss of 2 cognitive years. So if you are 15 and you've lost an hour of sleep over several nights, your cognitive perception could be that of a 14-year-old. It's been shown that A students, students who get A grades, average 15 minutes more sleep a night than B students. And poor sleep in older people actually increases the risk of cognitive decline and the risks for dementia and Alzheimer's. And the really big part about this is there are more than 70 known sleep disorders. We're not going to do a lot about sleep disorders. We're going to talk a little bit about them, but we're here just about the basic quality of sleep more than confirmed sleep disorders. Um, the facts are huge. So, because this was an American conference, the numbers are American. If you want to translate it into Canadian, I always just think 1/10. We're 1/10 the population, so our problems, and we have pretty similar lifestyles. And so I always would think that our numbers would be 1/10 of the American. So if 50 to 70 million Americans chronically suffer from these sleep disorders, 5 to 7 million Canadians would. And those, excuse me, are the kind of sleeping issues that hinder daily functioning, and they adversely affect our health and our longevity. It has a very big impact on our longevity. Um, Long-term sleep problems, and this is where my whole experience comes in. Long-term sleep problems have impacts and consequences such as diabetes, obesity, mental health issues, and cardiovascular diseases. My long-term stress lifestyle due to my former employment meant that I was sleeping all night, maybe 2 to 3 nights out of 7. And that chronic sleep deficit and overabundance of stress in my life led to me having 2 heart attacks, one at 54 and one at 55, with no family history of cardiovascular disease.
Mm.
So, um, those are just a few of the things that can happen when you have chronic sleep problems and you aren't getting enough sleep. There's some interesting research about the effect of sleep deprivation on your brain while you're performing mathematical tasks. And you can see the areas of red on these scans are places that are lit up when you're doing a task, when these research
Mm.
subjects are doing a task, and you can see the sleep deprived person has very minimal brain activity doing a task, trying to do a task when they're sleep deprived. And all of these slides have research links if you're interested in anything in particular. Contact me afterwards and we can arrange to get you those links. Sleep disorders in today's world are a massive issue. There's global research around sleep disorders and poor sleeping. Um, And one of the interesting big analysis coming out across a lot of studies, 150 studies, showed that between 30% and 80% of people who recovered from the current illness from the pandemic now have sleep disorders.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the number would be higher because even from people just going through the pandemic, because of the level of stress, the level of uncertainty, and the ongoing fear of it happening again. And some interesting things. Losing out on sleep doesn't just give you a tough day the next day. It does actually, it can actually create a pre-diabetic state in people.
Hmm.
And people with chronic fatigue, not chronic, not the autoimmune disorder, but just chronic, who are chronically fatigued,
Yep.
tend to make bad decisions. They take unnecessary risk. They can miss a lot of work. They can be sick more often. They tend to eat a higher food amount, higher calorie foods. Our bodies
Yep.
crave
Yep.
fat and sugar when we're tired.
I
And
noticed that today.
right,
Yeah.
when you're tired, your body's just screaming for things like potato chips and
Yeah.
things that over the long term are not good for you.
Yeah.
And up to 100,000 car accidents they feel that are reported in the US are due to drivers falling asleep behind the wheel.
Hmm.
So we need deep, restful sleep to complete our regeneration and detoxifying processes in our entire body. And you cannot make up your sleep on another day. The idea that, oh, I'll make up my sleep tomorrow is not actually, it doesn't actually work that way. Um, oh, we got two slides here. So you can see there's poor sleep is associated with increasing cortical atrophy, which so the cortis the parts of your brain shrink. Your brain's loss of sleep can shrink your brain, and in healthy older adults, short sleep duration is actually associated with greater age-related brain atrophy and cognitive decline. So
Hmm.
the stakes are high.
Hmm.
The stakes are high. But there's some good things that we can know about how start to learn about sleep that can help us in this. So there is a thing called sleep architecture. It is the structure of how we sleep and how we cycle through sleep in the evening. Um, and if you ever had a really bad sleep and then found you had a really bad day next day, these are some of the things that you can think about trying to improve. Being cranky with your spouse, feeling out of sorts, not being able to remember, like feeling like you forgetting things all the time. These can all be side effects of not getting a good sleep. Um, and the thing that I find is that even though people know in their head that sleep is important, we don't really prioritize and focus on getting a good sleep. So sleep architecture is the place to start because there are many phases of sleep, and each one of them has a role in our health. And our brain waves are different in each phase, and each phase provides a different benefit. So let's take a minute to talk about the stages. So, stage one, non-REM one, which is light sleep. That's a little drifting off right at the beginning of a sleep, sort of hang in there between being awake and going to sleep. Your muscle activity slows down. You occasionally have some muscle twitching. Then you progress to stage two sleep, which is a deeper light sleep, where our body temperature starts to drop and our heart rate slows. And then we get to stage three sleep, which is NREM 3 sleep, which is a deep sleep. And this is essential. This phase here is essential for tissue repair, muscle growth, brain detox, and immune function. This deep REM sleep is important also for memory consolidation, learning, and mood regulation. And we don't go from one to three and then wake up in the morning. We cycle through all these phases all night. So
Is
if we
that
have an
why?
interrupt, sorry?
Is
Yeah,
that why you always remember that missing detail in the middle of the night? Because you've
probably.
gone through a deep sleep and now you're in a lighter sleep?
Yeah, and you have started to consolidate the memories from the day.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, there we go. You wake up at 3 in the morning and I can remember that person's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if we cycle through all of these repeatedly over the course of the night and we have a short sleep or an interrupted sleep, some of these phases would be impacted. And that's why you can't catch up the next night because it's not a continuous process, it's a loop. So we need to have a good sleep every night, or the majority of nights at least. Um, and I was a terrible chronic sleeper. I would fall asleep easily in the evening most times and wake up at 3 a.m. and not be able to go back to sleep. Or I would really struggle with shutting my brain off when I went to bed, and I would toss and turn for hours before I could get to sleep. And then I would have a short, intense sleep and wake up feeling like I was hungover. So neither of those are good options. So the REM sleep, or rapid eye movement phase of sleep, is characterized by rapid eye movements, blinking. Most dreaming occurs during REM sleep. And our brain activity, interestingly enough, is similar to us being awake. That's how much our brain
Hmm.
is active during REM sleep.
Okay.
Um, and that, like I said, was good for memory consolidation, learning, and mood regulation. And we have 3 stages of non-REM and then a fourth stage of REM. So we have 4 stages of sleep.
Okay.
And we have the phase of falling asleep right at the very beginning. And then it's a cycle. It's a cycle. So a complete cycle can last between 90 and 120 minutes and includes both non-REM and REM sleeps. So have you ever had that experience where you've gone to bed, you've gone right to sleep, and you wake up a couple of hours later, completely awake, and you think you've been asleep for the whole night, and you look at the clock and it's only like 2.5 hours? That's because you've gone through a whole cycle, typically. And typically, people who are getting good sleeps go through 4 to 6 of these complete cycles at night. Early in the night, though, more time is spent in the non-REM sleep. And the later cycles towards morning have a higher proportion of REM sleep, which is why when you wake up in the morning, sometimes you wake up from a dream.
Yeah.
That was me this morning. I woke up from a dream and it took me a minute to kind of figure out what we were doing. So these are all the places in our brain that are impacted by our sleep. Our cerebral cortex controls electrical activity that regulates sleep stages, including initiating REM sleep. This region can be influenced by alcohol metabolites. So when your liver metabolizes alcohol, it can affect your cerebral cortex. Your pineal gland, which is this little wee thing right in here, produces melatonin that regulates the sleep-wake cycle. Our brain stem, which is our old part of our brain, it releases multiple neurotransmitters that maintain wakefulness, but also initiate deep REM stages. Um, our thalamus is a relay station between awake and sleep. So all of the parts of our brain have a part to play in sleep. Interesting, this basal forebrain, this piece right here, it produces a neurotransmitter that produces sleep, and caffeine inhibits the release of this neurotransmitter, which is why you can't sleep. And the interesting thing about caffeine is it has a half-life of 5 hours. So if you have taken caffeine at, say, noon, 5 hours later, 5 p.m. at night, you still have 50% of that caffeine in your body. And 5 hours later, 10 at night, is when you're finally maybe getting rid of the caffeine. So if you can't get to sleep at night and you've had coffee later in the day, that is probably why. Um, and the hypothalamus here, that is what regulates our circadian clock, which gives us our sleep-wake cycles. And it also controls the release of an inhibitory neurotransmitter that keeps us from being awake. So it helps us stay asleep.
Hmm.
So generally, good sleep is absolutely essential for our health. And here's a couple of reasons why. So most people have heard of the lymphatic system in our body. There's lymph nodes here, which tend to get swollen if you've got a cold. You've got lymph nodes under your armpits, in between your legs. There's down the front of your thighs or your shins. I mean, there's a whole network of lymph glands that is a network of organs and vessels and tissues that work to move a colorless watery fluid called lymph back into our circulatory system. It moves out of tissues and into our blood system. It is a critical part of our immune system. Because our lymph system actually protects us from infection. It destroys old or abnormal cells in our bodies that we don't need anymore, and then flushes them out through our liver or our kidneys. The lymphatic system also functions to maintain normal fluid levels in our body, helps us absorb fats and fat soluble vitamins so that they can make their way into our bloodstream so that we can use them. It is basically like our body's cleaning system. But this system does not work past our brain, past our neck.
Hmm.
Um, but there is a new system. So this is a good picture of how it moves fluid lymph around through our body, and why it's good for us to have a good clean lymph system. But about 10 years ago, a discovery was made that our brain has a system similar to our lymphatic system, and they called it the glymphatic system because it uses glymph as a liquid and not lymph nodes. This system flushes our brains so that the accumulated waste that we have created during the day, cell death, toxins, all those kind of things, can be disposed of. But the glymphatic system is unique in that it needs us to be in non-REM sleep 3 for this
Oh.
system to happen. It's a very specific point in our sleep, not REM when we're dreaming, and not the early wakefulness sleepfulness cycle, but right non-REM 3 sleep. And it needs to happen several times in the night. And this is why it's so vital for us to get a good sleep, and why when you have had a poor sleep, you kind of feel hungover the next day. Without this process, waste products can build up and cause damage over time. So it's kind of like a tsunami coming in and cleaning our brains out during deep sleep. And the reason why is apparently in our brains, there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of room
Hmm.
between things. But when we're in non-REM 3, there's a very slight shrinkage of some of the material in our brain so that this glymph liquid fluid can go, it's cerebrospinal fluid is what it is, can go through our brain, picking up the toxins. And it only happens at that one point in our sleep. So then the question is, so what happens when we don't get a good sleep? What kinds of things are impacted when we don't get a good sleep? Well, our bodies rely on this regeneration a lot, and there is a lot that's impacted. So the first thing that is impacted is body weight. Because we tend to excessively snack. We look for foods high in sugar and bad fats. And on the other hand, good sleep quality and good duration actually enhance weight loss. And as you can see, all of these comments are backed by research studies. So when we're going through these, think about which ones of these impact you the most.
Hmm.
The next one that it impacts is sleep and memory. We talked about during REM sleep, memories start to consolidate in the hippocampus, and these fast brain frequencies that activate very slow brain frequencies in our cortex, which in turn move memories into our long-term storage. So this is a whole process, like taking things from today, consolidating them, putting them in a place, moving older memories to a different place. This is all what happens at night when we're asleep, which is why our memories get solid, or if we can't, if we, I don't know about you, but when I'm sleep deprived, I forget why I walked into the kitchen. I'll make a list and I'll forget half the things that are on the list, even though I've talked to myself a couple of times about it. I'll make a list and I'll forget the list.
Hmm. Done
Um,
that.
yeah, those
Yeah.
are all kinds of things that are impacted by poor sleep because the consolidation of memories and the rest and recovery that your brain gets during these sleep processes and the cleaning.
Hmm.
Sleep and emotions. Sleep problems are strongly associated with emotional dysfunction. Lack of sleep leads to emotional instability and to brain changes that lead to anxiety, mood disorders, other mental illnesses, and mental decline. This significant impact on our emotional well-being without good sleep.
I
Another
noticed the mood
big,
disorders.
sorry?
I noticed the mood disorders right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sleep and immune system. How many times have you come off of a very stressful period where you're not sleeping well and all of a sudden you're sick? Sleep and immunity are actually linked. The lack of sleep increases the chance of infection, while good sleep directly improves immune memory and enhances immune reaction, infection outcome, as well as vaccination response. Sleep helps in our immune system function completely. And then the final one is sleep and energy. This is a no-brainer. When you
Hmm.
don't get a good sleep the night before, the next day your energy level it tends to be pretty flat in comparison. Like I said, it's like feeling hungover and you don't feel up to it. We're going to talk about Ning Charette as a supplement in a little bit, but it's got some really good clinical evidence supporting it providing 21 minutes more sleep and 35% more energy with consistent use. Now, there's a couple of good ways you can figure out what's going on with your sleep. One of them is sleep evaluation. This is a really good way of being very focused on what's going on with your sleep. So if you're having significant sleep issues and you can't quite get a grip on it, this American Academy of Medicine has a great 2 week sleep diary that you can use for 2 weeks to track and see what's going on with your sleep. You put when you have had coffee or cola or tea, when you have medicines, how you're sleeping. And this is what it can look like when you have filled it out. So there's been alcohol as a sleep aid, too much blue lights, naps in the afternoon are too long, waking up due to alcohol, over-the-counter sleep aid might not work. Lots of different things where you can track and see what's going on with your sleep. It's a free worksheet that you can download, really comprehensive and helps you to figure out if you're not sure what's going on. The other thing that you can really have a good look at is what is your sleep hygiene? Now, sleep hygiene really is only what are your habits before bed? What are your rituals before bed? Do you have a little nightcap to help you sleep? Well, alcohol might help you fall asleep, but it will disturb your sleep architecture 4 to 5 hours after your last drink. And as we saw with the metabolites, it affects one part of your brain um, when you're trying to sleep. Um, it inhibits the detoxification of your brain, so it makes it harder for your brain to do that flush. It disrupts and shortens REM sleep, and because of that, it disrupts the imprinting of learning and decreases your memory. And so, if you are going to have a drink, if you need to have a drink, intake should be 4 to 5 hours prior to going to bed, which is not really what most people do anyway. A nightcap before bed is not 4 or 5 hours. Um, if you have too much blue light in your life close to bedtime, when your blue light exposure from phones or TV or computers goes up, your melatonin production goes down, and that's because your melatonin needs darkness to trigger the hormone release. Your brain needs darkness to trigger the hormone release of melatonin. And so your overall sleep quality goes down because you don't get as much melatonin. Um, Again, high caffeine coffee or energy drinks after 2 p.m. is something that we need to avoid. Um, if you took a 16-ounce Starbucks drink, it has 260 milligrams of caffeine. And oh, this says caffeine halftime is 6 hours, so not five, like I said. But that means that if you had that at 2 o'clock, half of it is still in your system at 8, and 65 milligrams is still in your system at 2 a.m. And
Ew.
in energy drinks like Red Bull or Monster, 130 milligrams is more caffeine than in there. So one of the good things that you can do to improve your sleep hygiene, there was just several. So no blue light 30 to 50 minutes before bed. No caffeine after noon. No alcohol 5 hours before bed. Try to sit in incandescent light, darkness, dimmer light um, prior to bed to just calm your body. Try to have maybe a warm bath or with some Epsom salts, which is magnesium, which helps you sleep. Another thing that you can do is diffuse lavender. Many essential oils actually are clinically shown to actually help with sleep. Lavender is one of them. It helps increase the total hours of sleep as well as the percentage of deep sleep that you're getting. And in this particular study, higher energy levels were reported the next morning after lavender sleep therapy in both men and women. I like to add cedarwood essential oil with my lavender because I like the earthy tree oils as well. It also can help you sleep. And the reason that it does that is something called olfactory enrichment. Now, olfactory enrichment um, uh, is using our olfactory system to trigger the limbic system in our brain to relax. And scents like lavender and chamomile and sandalwood, all and cedarwood, have all been shown to promote relaxation, reduce stress, and actually help prepare our minds for restful sleep. This study here showed that using any one of 7 different essential oils with for 2 hours of aromatherapy, so diffusing for 2 hours, resulted in a highly significant regeneration and plasticity in brains. And it's a very inexpensive and effective way to help prevent and treat memory loss in the elderly. Um, and it's because when we inhale these calming aromas, our brain actually responds by releasing neurotransmitters like serotonin, which helps to regulate mood and sleep cycles. And so, including essential oils into your bedtime routine can enhance your sleep experience, which is, I find, very helpful, making it easier to drift off and stay asleep and leading to overall better sleep quality. Okay, so that's really why sleep is important. Let's talk a little bit about, so you've done some sleep hygiene, you're trying really hard to, limit the amount of stress in your life. You're turning off your blue light, and you're still struggling to get some sleep. Um, there's a few things that can really help. The first thing I like to talk about is how to nourish your body in a way that it can actually perform the functions that it's meant to perform. One of the big ones is magnesium. When I had my second heart attack, I was on a magnesium drip for 4 days because my magnesium was so low. And it really instilled in me the importance of getting enough magnesium in our diets. It's called the mighty mineral because it supports over 300 different processes in our bodies. And yet, only about 50% of people actually get enough magnesium in their diet. So, this is a must-have mineral. Um, it helps to maintain brain and heart function, and it can also help to lower blood sugar. It is one of our body's 7 essential macro minerals, sorry. And these are macro minerals are the minerals that people need to consume in kind of larger quantities every single day. We need at least 100 milligrams per day. And the nice thing about magnesium is it can help prevent or treat chronic diseases. It also helps decrease physical fatigue. If you have muscle cramps or aches in bed, this is the mineral for you. But why would you want Young Living magnesium as compared to, any one of the hundred of other magnesium supplements out there? Well, first of all, because Young Living pairs the magnesium with a melon juice concentrate, which actually helps increase the magnesium's efficiency and reduces the oxidative stress in our bodies. So it helps the magnesium get to where your body needs it the most. And the other thing is the purity and the quality of the supplement. Young Living sources two forms of magnesium for this supplement, both of them from Irish Sea. The Irish Sea, they use ocean water and they do purity tests on the water before they do it. But it is a highly sustainable, highly clean, and highly effective combination of two types of magnesium. There's about 7 forms of magnesium. And if you take magnesium before bed, it can support a healthy and deeper sleep. I take it in the morning because I because when I started taking it, I didn't have the muscle cramps in the evening. But you can take this at night or in the morning, up to you. It helps your muscles to be healthier so you can sleep better. The second, here, let's see what it says. Oh, so the melon juice concentrate, the second ingredient in the vitamin, that's, I should say, Young Living uses as few ingredients as possible in their products so that you are only getting things that are doing a job. So this melon juice concentrate comes from melons sourced from France. It helps to distribute the magnesium to areas with increased metabolic need. It increases the magnesium's efficiency, and the juice itself helps reduce oxidative stress, which in itself is a contributor to poor sleep. Uh, where are we? Um, So in order to get a better sleep, here's some quick tips. 1 minute to unwind, to tell yourself to promote a better sleep. Unwind from your daily stressors, 6 minutes. It takes 20 minutes to lower your body temperature. Only takes 3 minutes to create a slumber sanctuary where your room is dark, your bed is comfortable. The temperature of your room is probably on the cooler side, if possible, to help you sleep better. The second supplement that I want to talk about that can help you sleep is vitamin D. Now, vitamin D, people think of as the sunshine vitamin,
Yeah,
and it gets
really.
a lot of hype for good reason. It's incredibly important for our immune system, for our respiratory system, bones and joints, for our autoimmune system, for our emotions. All of those things are supported by healthy vitamin D levels. And living where we live, we simply do not get enough sunshine to get enough vitamin D, especially this time of year. But even in the summer, we really don't get that intensity of sun that is needed to make enough. So most people in the Northern Hemisphere should be taking a vitamin D supplement. It supports healthy bones, as we all know as women. It helps prevent osteoporosis, particularly in menopausal and postmenopausal women. It regulates the absorption of calcium and phosphorus and facilitates normal immune function. And it also helps in our sleep. It supports our respiratory system, our immune system, and helps to regulate the sleep-wake cycle and might help improve sleep quality. The third powerful supplement that I want to talk about for sleep is our Ningxia Red. Now, if you've heard me talk about Ningxia Red before, you know that I am a huge proponent of Ningxia Red, and it is a antioxidant drink that is infused with citric
Yes.
oils,
I'm
and it has
sorry.
Sorry.
I disappeared for the last 5 minutes. You were
Oh,
just
yes.
talking about vitamin D. I'm
Oh, yes.
sorry. I
Oh, that's
hit the wrong
okay.
button.
Yeah. And so now we're talking about Ningxia Red, which is our antioxidant drink. It is a combination of several berry juices and pulp, not just the juice. Um, and the main component is the Ningxia wolfberry, which is also known as a goji berry, which is the highest rated antioxidant berry out there, higher than blueberries, higher than pomegranates. And antioxidants are things that help our cells stay healthy and fight off free radicals, which actually attack our um, our cells. And it supports all nine of our body systems, and everyone can take it. The interesting thing about Ningxia Red is that we have clinical studies that show that consistent use of Ningxia Red improves our sleep patterns and increases sleep time on an average of 21 minutes a day. It also has a healthy inflammation response, which also helps us sleep. If our body is not as inflamed, we sleep better. Um, and this is a virtual vitamin in the form of a drink. And I take this every single day, and it is actually my desert island supplement. If I had nothing else in my supplement cabinet, it would be Ningxia Red. And it the nice thing about the wolfberry, which is the main component in Ningxia Red, is that it has ideal mineral proportions. It is almost a 1-to-1 magnesium to calcium rate. It has a 2-to-1 zinc to copper rate and an 8-to-1 potassium to magnesium rate. That's really hard to find in perfect quantities in things that are not synthesized. And the reason that it has such a great mineral profile is that where the wolfberries are grown in Ningxia province is at the base of the Himalayas on the China side. And the water that runs down out of the Himalayas comes with all of the minerals from all of that rock into the fields where the Ningxia wolfberry is grown. And so the plants then take up all of that water, which includes all of those minerals and trace elements, and then provides it back to us humans in the form of a berry. It's an amazing supplement. I always tell people this is probably where you want to start because this nourishes every cell in your body. And what I know about most people is that we need to have an improvement in our baseline health before we can start bringing other things in and supplementing individual things because we don't even know where we're going to wind up until we get to a baseline. So you've tried all of the supplements, the sleep hygiene, you still can't get to sleep. We have a beautiful new supplement called Deep Night Essence, which is a um, it is a magnesium, spearmint, holy basil, and lemon balm combination. And it also has lavender and spearmint essential oils. And all of these combine to create an amazing, um, non-drowsy, long-term available supplement that helps support our natural sleep cycle. It really does promote a restful sleep. It is such a gentle, I have some here. It is such a gentle and calming combination of things. I have taken it about 3 times when I really have been struggling to sleep. I just can't settle. I've tried everything. I've been up a couple of times, and I always wake up in the morning feeling rested but never groggy. And that was the thing that I always worried about with the sleep supplements is that kind of that groggy feeling in the morning. This is melatonin free because there are studies that seem to suggest that us taking melatonin actually inhibits our own melatonin production. The spearmint oil is used because it is a neurotransmitter. It helps with neurotransmission of all of those things. It is the green tea extract for relaxation. The green tea extract is for that brain that you can't shut off. when you have the rushing thoughts and you can't seem to shut the brain off, the green tea extract helps with that. The lemon balm or Melissa is used to support our natural response to stress. And lavender, we've already seen a study that lavender does help promote sleep quality. It's an amazing little supplement. It's quite gentle and it is designed for long-term use. So
Mm.
unlike any melatonin supplements, which you shouldn't take long-term, this one, if you really are having sleep difficulties, you can take this one longer term. And then the final thing is this beautiful wake up diffuser. I have one of these in my office actually because I love it so much. Its alarm will slowly come on. This is a light and it has multiple light settings and it will come on being like the dawn and slowly light up until it's like morning. And then at night, it will slowly close down, just like an evening. And you can put two different bottles of essential oil in there, and you can control it by an app on your phone or by the um, uh, things on the buttons on the diffuser itself. It's a lovely way to wake up, and it's a lovely way to go to sleep. Like I said, you could have a go to sleep oil and a wake up oil, something like citrus or something perky in there, and it just wakes you up lovely. But that is the things about sleep that you need to know, and some options for you if you are struggling to sleep. So that, if you have any questions, yeah,
So does this light, it gets dark at night, so it's black? And
I'll show
does
you here.
the,
Just like, I'll show you what it
the
looks like on my desk right now.
okay, and does the time go off?
You can turn it off. Yeah.
Okay.
See, there's mine.
Ah. Oh, so it's not very big.
No, it's not very big. It sits on your nightstand if you want. It can have the clock displayed.
Okay.
Or not. It has sounds or not.
Oh,
Um,
sleep noises?
I'm sorry?
Blue noise type waves and
Multiple
stuff like
different
that?
colors of light.
Okay.
All like this one is like a daytime one. There's a
Yeah.
blue version for when it's getting dark out. Yeah, there's multiple versions of it.
Okay. And
But it's very
it
cool because you just use the bottle. You don't have any water in it. So you just, I'll show you here. There's uh, things at the back here. You pop them
I'm just
out
gonna make you bigger.
and you have a
Oh,
bottle of oil in there.
oh, okay.
And you pop it, see where the top is there. You pop it back in. Oh, and there's a different color. I don't know if you can see it. Probably can't.
Yeah.
I just turned it on. No, you can't see it. But this one is kind of blue up on the top here. Where do we got here? Blue up here and yellow down here. There's
Okay.
seven, I think seven different color variations and seven different sounds. Some are forest sounds. There's a white noise. But it's a nice little um bedside one because it's got the time on it and everything. And the time can go off, and if you touch it, the time comes back on, so you can see it.
Okay.
hmm But those are some of the things that you can do to help your sleep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
And so the deep night essence, you don't have to take that every night, just the
you
night you
do,
struggle.
no, you don't.
Okay.
No, you can take that on the nights when you're struggling. I take the Ningxia Red, the vitamin D, and the magnesium daily,
Mm-hmm.
and Deep Night Essence if I'm struggling with sleep. Like something critical has happened after the election, I had to take some.
Okay. I think we all did.
Yeah, I couldn't get to sleep. So yeah, those kind of times when nothing is working, that's when I use this one.
Okay.
Now, if you had a
Okay.
sleep disorder, you might use this more, but it's okay to do that because it is actually okay to use it longer term.
It, what is the term? You get dependent, it's non-dependable.
It's non-dependent making.
Okay.
It's non-dependence. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So if anybody watching this later has more questions about any of these products or any of the studies used to make this presentation, just get a hold of me via email or by PM. I'm happy to do a consult with anybody who would like to know what to do to start, where to start, how to start to improve their sleep. I find that whereas I used to have maybe 2 good nights of sleep out of 7 when I was working, I now maybe have 1 to 2 bad nights per month.
Mm,
And my bad nights are much less bad than they used to be. Much less. And
mm.
it has improved my overall health then significantly because of it. So
Okay.
thank you. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And I have these educational sessions just about every Wednesday. So if the next one is called Aging with Grace. It is next Wednesday. So feel free to join me then.
Okay. I just might do that. I
Awesome.
enjoyed this. Thank you.
Good. Thanks a lot, Wendy. Good night.
Okay. Okay.